Hello, it's Monday morning. Welcome to our assembly for today. I hope you've all had a lovely weekend. I hope you've all done some interesting things or some different things. My door's going to slam behind me. Here we go. Oh, it's not slamming. And I hope that you are all ready and refreshed and looking forward to a new week's learning with lots of exciting things to do, lots of exciting things to learn, and lots of things where you go, do you know what? That's a bit cool. I quite like that. Or, yeah, that's made me think. I quite like that one because it makes me think. I was talking to a couple of people in my office last week who come to see me for stickers, and we were talking about how they really like maths because it stretched their brains. Hold on, I'm just going to shut the door. There we go, sorted. So, our theme for our assemblies this week is looking at signs of autumn. Now, I know we did a little bit of that in one of the assemblies last week, but we're going to have a think about what autumn is and what it means, both for the world around us and for ourselves as well, because it's going to make some changes. So there is a change about me right now. I've had to put a jumper on. I'm cold. I'm actually recording this at home, and I thought I was going to sit outside. I thought I'd sit in my garden and record it because it's all about autumn and being outdoors, but it started to rain. So the weather's changing as well. So let's have a look at our global goals, see if we can remind ourselves of which global goals are going to be important if we're thinking about autumn. So here we go. Here are our global goals, or they will be when they've loaded on the screen. Come on, computer. There we go. So there's our global goals. Have a good look. Which global goals do you think might be important if we're thinking about autumn? Which ones are we going to be concentrating on this week? You might want to stop the video and have a think. And put your hand up and explain to the person, explain to your teacher, explain to the person you're watching this with or the person next to you why you think that global goal is to do with autumn. Okay. Now, I had to think about this and I thought, well, there's these. So I thought zero hunger because it's about harvest and collecting in the crops. Good health and well-being, because when you go out and look at autumn, look at the signs of autumn and scrunching the leaves and see the changing of the seasons, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel really positive. Clean water and sanitation, because like I said, it's raining today. So there's rain coming down. So we're talking about how we use water. Decent work and economic growth. And that's to do with having a job. And autumn and harvest is a really busy time for farmers who are collecting in crops. And because of that, we've got industry and innovation and infrastructure, again, to do with farming. And responsible consumption and production. And that's to do with making food and not wasting stuff. And autumn is a time when we can really think about that. And harvest, particularly, we'll think about how we can help other people. Climate action. Because autumn it's lovely, it's a fantastic time, but actually if we don't look after our environment, if we don't make sure that in our gardens we care for the plants that are in there, then our climate won't be as healthy. And because of that, we're also linking to life below water and life on land as well. And as with a lot of these things, if we do this, then we will have that peace and justice and strong institutions where we can all work together. And I'll come on to that one a little bit towards the end of the assembly. Right, let's have a look. Now, I wonder if you've seen something like that recently. I haven't seen trees quite that red yet, quite that orangey colour yet, but they're certainly going. And I bet you've seen trees all around you where you have really noticed the changing colours. You might have scooshed through the leaves on the way to school or on the path somewhere when you've been out walking with your family. It's really, really pretty. So we're going to have a look at the changes that take place during the autumn and think about changes in our own lives as well. Okay, so two different things. Changes during autumn around the environment and changes in our own lives. So, signs of autumn. Lots and lots of things happening in the environment. What can you think of? Okay, stop the video, talk to your partner, share your ideas as a class. Well, we've got the leaves turning a different colour. We've mentioned that one. This one is showing how we need hats and scarves and gloves, maybe. I told you I put my jumper on. And this one is darker nights. And you can't sit out in the garden nearly as late as we have been, because it's getting darker earlier and earlier. And we talked last week about the equinox, where the day and night were exactly the same length. And now we're past that equinox. And that means that the nighttime is longer than the daytime. Okay, I wonder if you've got any more. We might come across some of them as we go through the rest of the video. So, autumn around the world. We know it's the season that follows summer, and autumn in the UK happens in September, October, and November. And does autumn happen at the same time as the UK, right the way around the world, in all the other countries? What do you think? Well, no, it doesn't. In the US, autumn is called the fall. Why do you think that is? We know that some trees are evergreen and some are deciduous, and some of you will have learned those things in science. So remind me what a deciduous tree is. That's right, a deciduous tree is one that where the leaves fall off in the autumn. And a tree that keeps its leaves right the way through the year is called evergreen. And it's obvious, evergreen is always going to be green forever. So do you know a tree that's an example of one of these? See if you can have a think as a class. What do you know? So you might have, for evergreen trees, you might have conifers, spruce trees. For deciduous trees, you might have oaks or the larch or the maple. There's loads of different types. Now, autumn used to be called harvest because it's the time when many fruits and vegetables are ready to be harvested. So we've got some examples of things that are ready to be harvested at this time of year. I was walking the other day and there were loads of blackberries actually growing at the side of the path where I was walking. And there's loads of other things. So put your hand up if you've been growing vegetables in your garden this year. I wonder. There's lots of people, and you might have things that you've been picking already in your garden, or you might be at the stage where you're just about to start. Maybe you've been helping mums and dads, which is really good. Now, during the autumn, some birds migrate and some animals hibernate. What do those two words mean? Now, I hope you've remembered your science. So migrate means to travel to another part of the world so that you can be somewhere warmer. And hibernate means to kind of huddle down, to find somewhere warm and sleep through the winter. So the animal's body will slow down in its warm cave or warm hole, and then it will come out in the summer, in the spring months. And we can actually help animals that hibernate in the garden. I've just finished making a bug hotel in my garden, and I'm hoping that this year there'll be some insects that are hibernating and spending the winter in there and staying nice and snug and warm. And next year, I'm hoping that I might have all sorts of creepy crawlies in there as well. So maybe mice or who knows what. Now, autumn's a time of change, not just in nature, but also in our lives. So what's changed for you because of the time of year in the last few weeks? Share those ideas with your friends. Now, particularly, you're in a different year group. Some of you are in a completely new school. And you might be in a different class as well. You might be sitting next to somebody different. So we've had changes in our lives as well. And because of coronavirus, we've been back in bubbles and then not in bubbles. And it's all been complicated. So there's been lots and lots of change in our lives. And changes are sometimes difficult, and we have to adapt and accept things that maybe we don't want to accept and move on. So what changes can you think of that people might find hard to accept? And I've just given one example with COVID restrictions. That's had to change for us. What other changes might you have had that you find hard to accept? Pause the video and have a chat as a class. Okay. Now, it might be that you were feeling anxious about coming to school at the start of term because you didn't know your teacher, or you were going to be with different people. That could be a bit of a change. For the children who are in year 6, you might be starting to think about high school already and those sorts of changes. And you might not want to accept that. It might be that you've moved house recently, or you're going to move house very soon. And those sorts of changes can be difficult as well, because you're moving to a new area and you really like your bedroom the way it is and things like that. But it's also exciting. It's also really good to have those changes in your lives. Now, often our friendship group changes. People we were once best friends with might be different, or maybe we've changed, and that's hard to accept as well. So think about a time when you wanted to make new friends, or if someone you were friends with is behaving differently towards you. Okay, and just have a think about that in your head. Okay, have you got a time when your friendship group has changed? You might be friends with people now that you weren't friends with before. Now, this autumn, see if you can allow yourself to let go of things that maybe you are clinging on to, and make way for some new exciting things to happen. And think, do you know what? I'm really, really glad I'm in Mr. Garner's class this year. I obviously miss my old teachers, but I've had a really good time, and Mr. Garner's taught me some really cool stuff. So you're not thinking about the past, but actually saying, yes, this is a good thing to move on. So this autumn is a good opportunity for change. And it might be that you want to change something in your life. You think, what am I going to do? Maybe you've just joined a football team and you're going to play more football than you have done before. And start that time with your football team and think, yeah, this is it for me. This is going to be great. So you're putting that best step forward. When I was in Woodpecker's class the other day, they were just starting out with their spelling books, and they were writing that very first bit in that book. And that was really cool, because everybody made such a good effort to present that work in a really, really lovely way, to make their best effort. And because of that, they were being positive and they were making a really good start. So saying, I'm going to be positive, I'm going to do it like this now. So autumn is a vital time in nature, because the old things die down, the plants die down, and it allows the growth of new plants. And our relationships are a bit like this as well. Sometimes we've got to allow our friendships allow our friendships to change, to allow new friendships to begin, and to allow the new growth in us. So let's have a think about those global goals, and think about all of the stuff that we've been talking about during the assembly. Put your hand up if you can explain how Global Goal 16 is relevant to what we've been thinking about today. Now, I hope there's some really, really good ideas. You might need to pause the video to explore it a little bit. But actually, if we accept that we can have that change in our lives, then we will have a peaceful society. Rather than saying, no, I don't want this change, we go with it and say, yeah, this is going to be good. So let's see if we can all enjoy the change that's around us at the moment. Let's see if we can all have a bit of a think about our global goals as we look at all the signs of autumn. And let's see if we can think about ourselves and think about how we grow as people, how we become better people by saying, I'm going to be positive, I'm going to accept this change. So that's the end of our assembly, folks. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. I hope that you learn lots. I hope that you work really hard. I hope you have a really nice time with your mates at playtime and at lunchtime. And I will see you around school. Bye-bye.